Alright, what's up y'all? Cash Candy Classics Live coming back at you. 62, we got the rear done. Everything's there. Coming on to the front. And first thing I'll do is take your wheels off, get everything ready. This car we're actually going to do tubular front suspension for Kevin. 62 Big Daddy's Caddy, giving him a shout out. So I'll get the wheels off. We'll go ahead and pull this strut bar off. It's going to come off because your shock relocation goes in here. If you're just normally bagging the car, you can leave it on if you want to, but most people don't run it. Yeah, let me get a little bit going and then we'll get you back on. Alright, so got the wheels off, coming in. This car we're actually going to disc brake swap, so we're going to be pulling all this off. Your next step is going to be to undo the ball joint there. There's a lot of grime on this one here. Undo that ball joint and get the spring out of there. A lot of people will take the top ball joint off, but yeah, you're going to pull your ball joint loose, get your spring out safely, remove your shock, top and bottom, and then I'll get everything pulled out and I'll show you guys what to mark on the pocket and what to cut on the pocket. We'll get everything ready. I'll get back with you in a minute. Alright, so here we are back. Springs are out. Normally what yours will look like is your ball joint will be undone. But I wanted to give you guys an idea of what to cut for clearance on the bags. I usually start right around here, right around there, and then trim that whole lip right there all the way around, and I usually end it on the other side of this gap, about like that. So I don't cut way back in here to that seam, keep it like that. Now over here on this side, right there, you'll see there's a thick double layered piece. I like to carry that circle on around, just like that. If you imagine this was a circle up in there. That pretty much shows you what I trim out, and I just trim it down to the second layer and trim it back to that second layer of metal, and then finish that off as a circle on that corner. Nothing needs to come out over here if you're running a 6. This hole here is not for the lower bracket. The lower bracket needs to be centered over the center of that hole, because centered in there, because that's where your shock was, and your air bag is actually going to take place of the shock. So you're going to go, or center the spring and shock, so you're going to go to the center of that, and then that's where your bracket will be centered over. That horseshoe will slide right over it. It'll have 4 holes you drill, 2 on the back, 2 on the front, and I'll show y'all some more pictures of that in a little bit. Alright guys, we're back on. Springs are out. Remove the sway bar. Got the nuts off the back sides of these. I went ahead and took this one out just to show y'all. You got 2 bolts under here. You pull those out, pull the sway bar link off, pull these off, the sway bar will come out, and then when you take that nut off there, pull these 2 nuts off under there. Then this will just pop up like that, and then pull out of there, pull out of that front. And that is what his strut rod bushings look like. So this car will definitely ride like a Cadillac still. take this one over here, kind of give y'all an idea. That was the other one that I took off. It actually looked better than this one. Now, what you'll have to do is, there's the rest of that piece. Sometimes right here, this hole will get oblonged from that rod bouncing up and down in it. Matter of fact, you can kind of see where that one was hitting it. So the aluminum spacer that goes back here, that's where you might have to grind that out just a little bit, file it out to get it to go in. But it's definitely from, over time, that metal rod sitting in there working up and down in there. Alright, so we'll get back to it. I'm gonna take the lower arms off, and then I'll get that part that I got marked trimmed out. This car, we're actually gonna disc brake swap it too, so I'll get back with you. For your front control arms, this is up in the spring pocket. Pull that bolt off. That bolt right there, that's going to release your upper arm from the shaft up top right there. And then one other thing, right above that spindle, that's how you adjust your camber right there, that nut. So what I advise you do is scribe that nut to that spindle right there, because you're gonna have to take that ball joint out, put this in a vise, and get this piece off that you're gonna scribe. So then when you're putting it back together, you can put it right back where it was and get real close on your alignment when you're getting it back together. So I'm gonna go ahead and pull this ball joint out, pull that upper arm off, take that ball joint out. You have a bolt in here you pull out, the lower arm comes off, the upper arm comes off. Once again, we're doing a disc brake swap on this car, so all that'll come off. Then we'll have plenty of room to open up that pocket like I showed you earlier. And then back where your strut rod is here, and it goes into that hole there. That's where your upper control arm hooks back to the heim joint. Alright. Alright, got all that out everywhere, but once you get your upper ball joint out of your spindle, see I marked it with that yellow paint right there. I'm going to take this and just scribe a little notch there, and you'll see on the spindle I scribed a little notch there. So then that'll let you line those two notches back up and get you real close on your alignment. So yeah, that's about it. Then I'll get these pockets taken care of and start slapping them back together. You gotta torch that till it's cherry red, and then just pop it. It'll come on, but it's got to be candy apple cherry red. Alright, y'all, this is what it'll look like after you trimmed it. Make sure you hit these corners down smooth. Yeah, that's what it'll look like after you trim it. Then take this nice flat black it out. And I'll get back with y'all in a minute. So everything's trimmed. I sprayed it all black. This car we actually changed out the pump. So now you'll just put your upper arm back on. Take this bolt out right here and let this cup fall out. That's gonna come out. That'll be where your airline goes through, is where that bolt is right now. And then you'll use your two bolts that are in there. You'll see back on the spindle where I scrubbed that spindle and I scrubbed that, and I put them back in the same spot like that. all of them are always different on which way they face. I just make sure to put them back like they are, and that gets you real close. Alright, so another thing. Probably need to do this outside of the car, but I already got it in there. That boot right there, I quit putting those on because they rip during shipping. So you'll slide it up, and then you'll just tap it around the edge until it sits flush on that arm. And they'll be in the box with your stuff. There you go. Alright y'all, here we go. We're back at it. I'm going to show y'all about the front high mount, where it goes. So you're going to have this piece here, and it's going to go in that hole right there. But over the years of that rod jumping up and down in that hole, it gets oblong, where when you try to put it in there, it don't want to fit. So you'll have to take and straighten that hole out to where it goes in and out easy. Alright, here we are. You're going to put that bracket on the heim joint like that to start off. You're going to reuse the bolts that are going to go through those two spacers. Those are the bolts you're going to use for the ones that come out of it. Alright, we got the arm in. You're going to put your bolt in from the front side where the hole is. Go ahead and put your nut on the back side. You're going to use the factory bolt for here. Go ahead and assemble the heim joint to the bracket on the car side. Put your aluminum spacer in the hole there it goes in. And then you're going to take and slide this as one unit into the aluminum spacer. Good starting point is to run it all the way up. And then you'll go and you'll put this big washer on there, and then you'll put your 3/4 heim nut right here like that, and then tighten that down. Alright. Alright, we're going to go over the bag install with the cups. Your setup will have a couple of these in it. This is for you to put on your threaded rod down in this hole here. Then you'll tighten it down. This will get your thread tape, tighten those down, and then you'll have your bag bolts. You'll sit this up there, and your bag bolts here, and you'll put the same Loctite on those, tighten those down. I use big jugs of it, but right there. So put a little bit there, and then tighten it all down. Do all 4 bags like that. This style will be the front bag. These will be your rear bags on most setups. They'll be labeled, your cups will be labeled front, rear, lower, and upper. Alright, cool deal. Showing y'all how to get your bags together. Make sure you put plenty of Loctite. This is the #1 thing that causes leaks in systems. That line, let me see if I can get it to shoot clear. Well, that line needs to be completely straight when it's cut off. If it's not straight and it's cut at an angle, it will leak in the fitting. So, got your front bags. What I normally do is put about a 14-inch piece of line on there on both sides. Exact same length. That line needs to be the exact same length on both sides. And then you'll slide this up through the hole, and you'll have your 1/2-inch washer and nut that you'll put on top to hold it in there. So we're gonna go ahead and do that. And that's my buddy Joey. What up, Joey? Yeah, so we're gonna go ahead and get them in there so we can get this thing put back together. Alright, start the bag in the hole. Bag's plenty of clearance. Threaded rod and your nut, and then you'll see up past there there's the airline that goes through that hole, and it'll just stick up there a while for now. So we'll fold it up, put our bolt into the bottom of the bag, plenty of Loctite. Just kind of gave y'all an overhaul of how the brackets are spaced. 2 big spacers there, smaller one up there. Bolts to your steering arm. Caliper bracket bolts here on the side with your brake line, so towards the back of the car. Alright, so for your rear bags, for 58 to 64, you'll have your spring out now. That hole there, you're going to step it up to a 1/2 inch. And then I usually take and drill with a hole saw for my airline straight up. And then I go right above it, right here, and drill for my airline to go straight in the trunk. So it goes straight up into the trunk. I usually step back right over here where I could reach it good behind the spring pocket and drill for my bulkhead. And then when I run my front airline, I'll bring it around and then come up over top of this and then go into that bulkhead, the front airline, so they'll both be right here. So that's where your bulkheads go. So I'm gonna get this drilled, get it ready, run them rear bags. All right, so back on the 62. I got the hole drilled. It's about a 3/4 inch hole saw. Step that up to a 1/2 inch. Right above it, you're gonna drill that out with a unibit so your black garment will go in there. And I hit all these with black spray paint just to make sure there's nothing later on, you know, corrosion or nothing. And then you'll need I usually cut about a 5 or 6 foot piece of airline, and you need to cut 2 of these that are exactly the same size for the rear bags. They have to be the same size. And then you'll feed this line up through the garment, the black rubber garment, and you'll put this up through there like that, and then over the top you'll put your washer in your 1/2 inch nut. Alright, I'm going to go ahead and get it all in, and then we'll go from there. So this is what you'll look like. Bag bolted up in there, your rubber garment. Now I'll step over, put about right here, and put the bulkhead for the front line. Like I say, I'll run that front line up through here, follow, come up on top of here, come right across the top, and right into that bulkhead. And your front lines, they have to be cut exactly the same length as well, so the car will raise up evenly.